Hello and welcome to another fun-filled edition of Adam's Music Box, where, as you know, I've been doing videos about the musical performances at the political conventions that have gone on this summer in the US. There was, of course, the RNC, the Republican Convention, in July, and that show had a full-time house band on stage. Really good group of musicians called Six Wire. The DNC has done things a bit differently. They had a DJ doing music that related to the various states during their roll call, but they've also had some very good live performances of individual artists. And yesterday, I think Stevie Wonder absolutely stole the show. And it was a bit of a surprise. He came out and he made a speech endorsing the Democratic candidate for president, Kamala Harris. And it was just, your standard sort of surrogate speech, I suppose they'd call it. But surprisingly and happily so, at the end of the speech, part of his little lectern went down to reveal a clavinet, and he goes right into Higher Ground, one of the finest songs of all time. And Stevie sounded really, really good. He's 74 years old. The song was recorded in the mid 70s, but he sounds great. And the whole band that he had was really good. And I think for someone who really only tunes into this for the musical elements, frankly, I mean, some of the rest is interesting, but it's the music that's the most fun. Um, I thought it was a really good performance. And there was another performance later on that same evening where John Legend and Sheila E., who was in Prince and the Revolution, came out and did Let's Go Crazy by Prince. And this was, of course, the sort of introduction to the speech by Tim Walz, who's the Minnesota governor, running as the Democratic vice president, Prince being from Minnesota. And they sort of kept this theme going of associating certain states with certain artists. And then I went back and looked at some of the other live performances I missed because these convention nights are sort of over 6 hours long every night. So you have to be really Republican or really Democrat to actually want to sit through all of it. But I saw some of the individual clips, and one of them from an earlier night in the convention was Patti LaBelle. She did the song "You Are My Friend" as a tribute for the members of the DNC who died over the last year, and she sounded really, really good. I mean, she's no spring chicken either, but she has still got the pipes, and I really recommend that you listen to that performance. Common, who is from Chicago, did a hip hop performance also on the second night. He was really good. Obviously, he's featured because he's one of the most famous hip hop artists out of Chicago, probably the second most famous ever after Ye, Kanye West. And so that was fun. And then later on, if you're watching this live on the day later today, there'll be the final night, and so we can see who is going to surprise us with musical performances, and then we can maybe have our own election on YouTube. Who had the better music, the RNC or the DNC? We can tally it all together and see who wins, even though music isn't about competition, it's about enjoying as much as you can. But I just really think Stevie Wonder was on such top form musically in terms of both obviously his keyboard playing and his vocal. And another thing I really liked is they used a real clavinet, not just some keyboard that was midied up with a sample of a clavinet sound, but a real authentic clavinet, just like on the original recording of Higher Ground. And that's very cool. I always prefer it when possible if they can use the authentic keyboard instruments from the original recording rather than just, sample it into your average digital keyboard. So that was very cool and very fun. So, keep on watching the political stuff for the musical interludes in between. I'm doing it so you don't have to. But yeah, we'll see what happens, and then we'll hold our little election now, won't we? Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.